Okay, greetings and welcome to our Sunday, the 19th of February 2023 live stream. Another hour and a half where we put our suspicions to the forefront of the latest rubbish that mainstream media is serving us up. I want to say hello to Midnight Scribbler and Nathan Oakley for taking the time to comment in the live chat. If anyone else has got anything they particularly want us to look at this evening. We do have, as I say, our headline subject, Burst in the Satellite, is going to be probably covered in a bit later in the stream. Well, it will probably go on about an hour and a half, so 11:30 I'll certainly be winding down if I haven't already. So there is plenty of time to look at a couple of other subjects, a few of which I want to start with in a minute. Yeah, actually, whilst we're here, I will just remind anyone, if they want to hit the thumbs up button before they leave this evening, then that's always appreciated, and subscribing and sharing does wonderful things too. Oh, I can lose that text about pre-show starting at 10 PM because we have now started. Let me just check that you can hear me alright and I'm playing okay. Yes, sounds like the volume, the audio is working okay. Right, what am I doing? Where's the text I want to lose? Okay, get in there. Yeah, I also would like to thank my regular supporter, Linda Mack, for supporting me over on Patreon, and also Skeptic19, who has offered some appreciation and support for my content. So, yeah, as always, there's links in the description, and PayPal links are available on request. So, tonight's subject, yeah, in the chat, Midnight Scribbler has mentioned Jimi Hendrix and Morgan Freeman. Now, last week we looked at who did we look at? The partners of, I can't actually remember who it was now. It was two celebrities that bared a passing resemblance, and their spouses did. Now, Midnight Scribblers mentioned Jimi Hendrix, who we've certainly looked at before on this stream and compared the two, along with Morgan Freeman. Now, I don't know, was Jimi Hendrix married when he died? We're gonna have a quick look at them, because you may well have seen this before. I'm going to share my screen a minute. Let's see, Jimi the Hound Hendrix. Yeah, Midnight points out that Morgan Freeman started acting the year Jimi Hendrix died, which was 1970. Let's zoom in a bit so you can hopefully see it a bit better. Jimi Hendrix's wife. Images, yeah, because their partners often seem to be very similar as well. Let's just see out of interest. I mean, he might have had many wives over the year. Or he's never been married. Okay, let's have a look. Just because they're different skin tones doesn't mean they're not. But maybe these two don't necessarily look that similar. I mean, the wives, who knows. I certainly see one between Hendrix and Morgan Freeman, but I'm not seeing one between the partners. So on that occasion, not so similar. Greetings to Susan Byrne. Thanks, good to see you in the live chat. Right, what was some of the subjects? Now, a video I made years ago. Let's see if we can find it quickly. Yeah, anyone else got any suggestions for doubles, lookalikes? Then by all means share them in the live chat. And yeah, every fake pregnancy must have one. Every fake pregnancy. Let's see if searching for that brings up my video. Absolutely not. Every fake pregnancy must have one. Unless I called it something like there we go, every fake pregnancy must have one. And I pointed out what every fake pregnancy must have, as well as all the usual things such as ridiculously athletic pregnant women
showing up. A common part of
that they
the fake
also always
pregnancy
seem
that
to use.
that they have to.
I don't want that audio going. Apologies. Yeah, as well as ridiculously athletic pregnant mothers, they always have images of babies clutching adult hands. I didn't say if you see that it means that they're faking their pregnancy, but it is certainly one of the things they seem to use. And who did we see? I saw this article on this person, Natalie Imbruglia, who was first started in Neighbours, I believe, or Home and Away, and they've welcomed their first child. Now, another thing someone pointed out, of course, women can and do have birth into their 40s, but I remember someone pointing out that it's as if they're trying to convince women to wait until later life because it's no big deal, it's nothing unusual about having a baby when you're 50, 60. Yeah, but I'm not sure how old Natalie Imbruglia is. She's certainly a good 5 to 10 years older than me, I'm sure of that. Right, and of course, if you ignore the square jaw and say that's fine, I'm happy with that, and the slightly sloping forehead and the regularly unusual ear shape, she does share this. The rainbow included, of course, and that's another one to add to the collection, as in that video, I don't know, I got plenty more than these ones, but over the years since making this video I've come across so many more images of adults. Yeah, so I thought we'd take a closer look at Natalie Imbruglia, because it's never long until they put these people up on, they put their personal pictures of kids up on their social media accounts, although this one doesn't seem to. And also we're not seeing the usual like photo shoots that they always do when they're pregnant, releasing albums. Perhaps this is just going to be a bit of a publicity boost for the woman. So just thought I'd point that one out. Right, so another one to add to the collection. Yeah, how old is Natalie? Oh, 44, okay, I would have thought she was a bit older than that. Of course, dual numbers, getting them looking. She added that she was blessed. Of course, done by IVF, maybe even done using a surrogate, but would they tell us that? Who knows? And Sophie Ellis Bextor, another one who's supposedly given birth, also gets a mention. I thought they were going to give us a link to her Instagram account, but no. Let's have a look. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Sophie Ellis Bextor has also had a high profile child. Oh, don't want to see that. That's not meant to be it. Okay, it's all about earthquake appeals at the moment. Yeah, another one of these celebrities that do these images where you don't ever see the kid's face. Who else does that? Oh, there was some model, Gigi Hadid, and they're always sharing images of their kids but not actually showing their faces. Saves on the CGI, I guess. Yeah, there's another one with it. I mean, I don't for 1 second blame someone for guarding the privacy of their kids, especially if they're a high profile singer like this person, but then why put pictures of them on Instagram at all? Why not just keep, because this is obviously her public account where they're selling her products, she's getting paid to promote certain products, which is fair play, but don't mix that up with your family life. Keep the two separate. That's something I would suggest. I'm not sure if there's loads of images of Sophie while she was preggers, because They certainly love their moon bumps. Right. Yeah, another one of the baby. No head, just a quick promotion. Child of musician. Alright, that's a hashtag then. And right up with Lorraine Kelly, who is on record as saying she is an actress, doesn't actually, she just plays the role of Lorraine Kelly. It was something to do with a tax case I think she had, and that's how she dodged paying tax. She said, well, I'm not a presenter, I'm an actor, or some such thing like that. Right, we won't spend too much time on Sophie Ellis Bach's tour. Let's see. Yeah, there's still constantly going on about missing dog walker, and this was something I covered in my midweek video. The fact that one missing person can get such massive over-the-top media attention, and some of the, like how every detail of this case is put in front of a camera, almost as if it were just a dramatization. You get to see them hunt for her, unless this is just stock footage that they're using for. And again, this use of ribbons, we've seen that with the Grenfell Tower incident. I'm sure we've seen it with plenty others as well, but Archie Battersby as well, they stuck. Yeah, the fact that there's apparently the press have been criticised for revealing too much information about this case, but then we heard in the week that it's not uncommon for like some of these high profile cases to get two press conferences every day, and it makes you wonder, what exactly must the police have to tell these people? Of course they're going to be revealing information if the press are turning up twice a day every day for these for these press conferences. There's only so many times you can tell the press, no, we still haven't found her. Okay, coming back in 9 hours for the second press conference of the day. Madness. It's not how genuine. Oh, we've got a suspect on this one by the looks of it. Callum Wheeler, murdered Mr. Okay. This is the last dog walker that went missing, because this story's obviously been done over once before. Detective who worked on missing dog walker case drafted in to help solve the Nicola Bully disappearance. This will be a great part, because they will dramatise this disappearance, I'm sure, at some point. If at very least not for programmes like Crime Stoppers. I remember watching a totally ridiculous story on Crime Stoppers about Crime Watch, sorry, about a supposed terrorist, and he wanted to attack two soldiers outside some barracks, and they reckon, it was just so ridiculous. And Crime Watch, it was right around the time that the incident in Manchester happened, and yeah, madness. Yeah, Midnight says people go missing all the time, but they go off once in a while, like that little girl. Yeah, I do think if this story right, let's read this, right. The officer from the National Crime Agency is leading a team of experts providing support to Detective Superintendent Rebecca Smith, constantly getting photographed at these press conferences, by the way. The senior investigating officer working on the Miss Bully case. If you think about it, the amount of times this person turns up for press conferences, does anyone actually expect her to crack the case? It's like, how are you getting on with the case? I'm going to have to leave that to someone else because I've got to go off to another press conference, right? Hang on, why can't I search for that person? Search the web. Here we go. I'm not sure how many press conferences she turns up to, but I'm sure I've seen her in it multiple times. And does she always wear the same blue dress? Let's see. Maybe they're not doing it maybe they're not doing these press conferences every day, but they seem to be showing this woman in front of the camera every single day. As much as I try and avoid the mainstream news, it's difficult to avoid hearing about these people constantly. Yeah, no evidence to indicate criminal aspect. Then why are they covering this case so much? Who, you know, as I said on Thursday night, if you think about the last person in your area that went missing, did they get this much media attention? No, because they don't do that with genuine cases. It's only when they can put their men in a dress in front of us. And of course, right, I want to see what this previous case was. Here's another image. I wonder who owns the right to this photo. The PA media. How on earth does the PA media always... Oh, this is Julia James. This is the previous case of a missing dog walker who actually doesn't look that dissimilar to the current one. I'm guessing this is the last person that was involved in a story like this. Yeah, they've previously said that their main hypothesis is that the mother of two fell into the river, but they have not yet recovered any evidence to back up this theory. Then why would they tell the press, you know? Why would you just assume someone's dead? Regardless of... I don't know. It's a bit of a cop-out. It doesn't sound right to me that the police would just... Okay, and of course they've drafted in no expense spared in this one. Sniffer dogs, divers, drones, and they've all failed to find Miss Bully. This was the person responsible for murdering Ms. James, which is this person here. Wonder when that was. And the family of this woman sold this picture off to PA media. Is that what you would do with pictures of your family members? And PA media also own the rights to this police photo of Callum Wheeler, the murderer. PA always seem to come up again, and it basically means that they're the ones who are packaging up and providing this story. According to the Sunday Times, a detective from the NCA has recommended the police bring in a number of external experts, including search specialists, family liaison officers, digital media pros, to examine Miss Bully's phone and other devices. Apparently they wanted to track the keys of her BMW or Mercedes or something. Right, officers in question previously worked on the investigation into the murder of Julia James. We will look at this. A police community support officer who was stabbed to death while walking her dog through the Kent countryside. I guess I had a body on that occasion. And there was their numbers again. 22-year-old Callum Wheeler. And of course, Nicola Bully is 44 years old. Is that right? Or am I thinking of Natalie Imbruglia? I might be getting my numbers mixed up, but the numbers often show up one way or another. Right, let's have a look at this story. Apparently, the police faced backlash over revealing that Ms. Bully had an issue with alcohol, and they even revealed that she's got perimenopause. I mean, is this the sort of information you would reveal about anyone, let alone someone that's gone missing? Crazy stuff. Perhaps that was presented to them by a journalist. Oh, can you confirm that she had issues with alcohol due to her perimenopause? Even the Prime Minister's getting involved in it. I'm surprised we don't have King Charles making a personal appeal on television for any news about her. Seriously, no expense spared. And of course there will be a GoFundMe set up for this, I'm confident of it. Like there probably was with Julia James, the game, JJ. Duality. Sick and Twisted Killer, 37 years. Yeah, Callum Wheeler, 22. Oh, and also they include that the Jack Russell Toby got knifed up as well, which of course is horrific, but okay, I haven't heard of this one. What year are we talking? 8th of July 2022 by the look of it. This story was written. Okay. Yeah, pretty depressing story for anyone that takes its... And here again, PA Wire provided pictures of the boy's son. I'm sorry, of the woman's son. I mean, how do they get every single image? Right, what? And then, of course, women's safety. Perhaps this came out around the time of that woman. Was she murdered by a police officer, a rogue police officer or something? I can't remember the name of that person, but it was another, big incident that got constant over-the-top media attention. What's this? Paul James speaks outside, and it looks like every member of Miss James's family attended this one and wanted to get their face in the camera. Very dignified. Okay. And again, PA happened to own the rights to a photograph of her husband as well. Interesting. KG, good to see you in the live chat. Susan says King Charles is too busy with the WEF to have time. Oh, I'm okay. Maybe not King Charles then, but I'm sure we could get William to at least put an appeal out. William, of course, does get involved in these high-profile stories. He posed next to Dame Deborah James in her back garden. He went and visited her while she was battling cancer. So yeah, don't think the royals are beyond getting involved, because they're not. Right, how are we doing? Let's see. Yeah, there was... I'm just gonna have to hide the screen for one... Not hide the screen. Yeah, hide the screen for 1 second while I just have a look for something. Bear with. Yeah, there was a couple of things that we didn't look at. Hang on. Where are we? Give us just a second. Yeah, apparently there were violent protests in Liverpool last week. Yeah, this was one I meant to cover the previous week, but overlooked it. Right. Where are we? Yeah, ultimately I do think... Oh, what happened there? I do think we will... Yeah, what motivation would they possibly have for fabricating someone going missing? Other than... Oh, hang on. We'll watch this one in a sec. Yeah, this is violent protests in Merseyside. See if you notice anything slightly off about this video that we're about to watch here. After people got arrested following a violent disorder... On suspicion of violent disorder following a protest in Merseyside. Yeah, we'll have a watch of this and see if you notice anything wrong. Okay. Right, I'll give us some volume. Oh, yeah, I'll put the volume on, hang on. Protesters have clashed with police at a rally in Merseyside. Anyone notice anything weird about this image? More police coming here, big line of police. Can you see any rioters? Labour MP George Howarth said people were protesting against refugees. Wow. Right in line with a recent Coronation Street storyline where an underground group of white supremacists, I guess you'd call them, have groomed one of the characters and made him make videos that encouraged another lad to go and try and stab someone. That's crazy. And they streamed it online as well, which is a regular feature in a lot of high profile news events. But anyway, yeah, let's see if any protesters actually appear in this 42-second video. Lots of police. Oh, someone's getting pushed there. Okay, now we cut to this scene, and the person's finally come around the other side of the fence. Any protesters yet? Nope, someone's made a cracking fire, I will say that, but not seeing any protesters. Surely in the last 12 seconds we're going to see one. White House does that. Here we go. Surely these people are about to come face to face with protesters. They must be. They wouldn't just be queuing up for a photo opportunity, would they? No, they're facing down a van. What happened there? Where's these images of the violent protest in Merseyside? Did no one think to take a picture of that one? Oh well. Mad stuff. Let's see if we can find anything else out about the violent... Is that all they've got to give us to support the claim that there was a violent protest in Merseyside? Against, apparently, refugees. Okay, this was 1 hour ago. Maybe they updated it 1 hour ago. Apparently people are fuming about immigration. Do you care? Well, thing is, can you... I don't know where you live, but where I live, it's about as busy as it's always been. There are not, like... Oh my goodness. Press the wrong stupid button again. People are constantly... They would have you believe that we're overrun, but from what I can see, there's roughly the same people now as I think there's always been. Unless, you know, you've got experiences of school numbers where classes are like at 50 or something, because there's so many kids needing to be educated. I know they're shutting schools in my area, or they did shut one. Right, Cherryfield Drive in Kirkby, Merseyside is not the safest place for a teenage girl to be walking home. Oh, here we go. Okay. Sue Reed visits the aftermath in Knowsley, Merseyside, and asks, have we reached immigration boiling point? As a peaceful protest over worried locals is hijacked by extremists, and descends into violence. Well, can you show us any of this violence, or are we just going to see cops? Because that's all I'm seeing so far. And how's this for? Get into your emotions. This is actually in the in where Coronation Street made one of the characters has been, he got sent to prison for making propaganda videos, and one of them involved a teenage girl being chased by a load of, it didn't show her getting chased, but it just showed her looking all scared, and it's exactly the same image that this news article is trying to put in our mind. Belying its cosy name, the road passes a shabby shopping centre surrounded by post-war council estates. Oh, it must be bad then. The people must be absolute animals if it's council estates. An ugly concrete bus station where hoodie-wearing drug dealers ply their trade, and a neon-lit local bar, Brambles, currently offering £10 Mother's Day meal out with strippers included in the price. Rubbish. Who knows? I don't know what the place is like. I mean, if you go to a strip bar and find what their special offers are, then yeah. But nearby, in a quieter corner of the fiercely Labour stronghold, is the 4-star Suites Hotel. I'm waiting to see any violence. Here we got again just police officers all lined up outside the hotel where asylum seekers were staying. I will say one thing actually. My wife really likes Bournemouth for some reason. I mean, she doesn't seem to see all the homeless people, all the shops have shut down. She just thinks it's a great place because it's by the sea. I'm like, come on, it's a freaking dump. Anyway, one of the hotels we used to stay at, we went to just to look at, see how it was doing. Cause when we first got together and first started going on holiday together, we stayed at this hotel, and they wouldn't let us in, and they said, oh yeah, we're fully booked up till the end of the week, or for the rest of the week or month or whatever. However, there was not a single car in the car park, and as we approached the, like, what was the reception area, some guy came running out to meet us, like basically stopping us from coming in, whereas before you could just swan in, use the toilet, walk into the dining room, have a look round, and they wouldn't stop and question you. But now you're not even allowed in. And I did wonder, is it being used to put up why not, you know, if they've got, I wouldn't blame hotels that are kind of going under. Look, did no one manage to capture? Yeah, anyway, let's finish my point. I wouldn't blame hotels that are going under for agreeing to put up anyone that needs the house, you know. Anyway, yeah, PP this time providing the photos. They managed to get a burnt out bus, but they didn't manage to get pictures of the people burning it. We got another angle on that video. Let's see how many protesters we see this time. Now, if we do happen to see protesters, remember the colour codes. You'll always get black. They all wear black, and there'll be one person wearing a red hood or a red top, and they are the directors by all accounts. And then you might get one other person in a particular colour who is playing a main role or something, like they smash a window or something, whereas everyone else is just there to make the place look busy. Right, let's watch this video. 57 seconds. How much? I can see oh goodness sakes, they don't let you pause it. Well, you can't pause it and see what's going on at the same time, so I'll just play it for a second. Some guy moving his bike. Oh. There's the guy in red by the, well, this could be probably is genuine members of the public looking at the massive bonfire they got going on. But where are the violent protests? I'm not seeing. Shall I make this big screen actually? Oh, but then it does seem to crop off. Lots of people running. Again, not seeing any violence. They've shut this road off though, I will point that out. Nope, just another video of crowds. Surely someone took a photo then, if they couldn't get it on video. Oh, by the way, Nicola Bulley's family are heartbroken after her body is found. Wow, breaking news. Unless this came up earlier. We'll have a look at that in a minute. I just want to finish waiting to see any of the protesters, the extremists. Remember that hijacked the peaceful protest against... Oh, I did come across this video on Twitter actually, and it's ridiculous. This guy's asking this person something, and she's like, "You go to prison for that, mate." And he so blatantly knows he's on camera. He's got two people managing to film him. Not only is the girl filming this guy, also someone on the other side of the streets filming this supposed immigrant or whatever he is, inappropriately questioning a 15-year-old. And they certainly had their cameras out on that day. Here we go, more wonderful shots of the police in all their riot gear. Still no protesters though. Look at these shields, not had one single stone chucked against them, or mud, or some of these guys look like he's basically just swigging from a bottle. Wow, can we get a close-up on this? No doubt provided by PA. These guys are in the thick of it. Check him out. He looks... what a hero. What a hero. He's having a drink. Having one of the crisis actor water bottles that they always provide. This guy looks like he's actually about to run for it. Oh no, they put all their shields down. Deprivation is the backdrop to the extraordinary surge in migrants being housed in local hotels, up more than tenfold in just 3 years. I'm sure it could. And this is probably the peaceful protest. So again, protests are, I don't know. Yeah. And here's the back to the old footage of just all those police officers again. So no, they've got absolutely nothing to offer us. Let's just catch up with the live chat. Susan says, check out the hotels that are being housed with immigrants and are fully booked for 2 years. I don't see why. I could have a look at that. I'll go on the website for the hotel that I'm actually referring to. Susan says, no women or children, just men of fighting age. I have actually phoned the named hotels and it seems to be true. Well, what I do remember about this hotel that I saw, we'll have a look at it in a minute, is that, let's see, what was it called? The Mayfair. It was actually quite nice hotel when we went there. I mean, it's not like a 5-star Ritz or anything, but it was okay. And I knew someone else that went there because they do ballroom dancing or something. Yeah, we went here last summer and couldn't get past couldn't get past this door. Some guy came out, and there were the odd people sat round. Like, I think I saw one guy sat in the car park. Didn't necessarily look English. Could have been a member of staff. Who knows? And by English I mean white, or yeah, he didn't look like your typical Caucasian male. Yeah, they seem to be scrubbing and stuff. But as I say, not a single car in the car park. I wonder if we went onto Frugal Maps and did the drive-by. Actually, the only thing with that, I think it will share my location. So I'm just going. Oh, have I had the... I hope I haven't had the thumbnail over too long. Apologies if I had. I think I did that the other day. Oops. My apologies. Let's see if anyone... Right. Yeah, typical. I leave the... Right, I'm going to hide my display for 1 second. Go to the Google view of the maps and see if it was... See if it had any of, see what's going on their street view. Right. Not that I'm too worried about people knowing my location. I mean... I am from Wiltshire in England, which is probably about all that this would have showed you. Right. Yeah, I'm a proud Wiltshonian, Wiltshireite, whatever you call them. Okay, I can show me screen again now, I think. Well, that'll be the next thing. I forget to put my screen back on. Right, street view. Where is it? Depending on how recent the image is. This one here. Okay, it seems to be... When was this? August 2021. We went past it in 2022 and there were... Yeah, and there were no cars in the car park, but they were completely booked. Right. Let's see. We will be thinking about our intermission soon, and then when we come back we'll be covering the main subject. Susan says there's a protest in Newquay next Saturday. Fair enough, they seem to be popping up then. I'm curious where these protests are kind of... who arranges them, out of interest. Right. We were going to look at the body of Nicola Bulley. Oh, well, we don't know it's their body, but let's see what the Mail Online. It's always a Mail Online, wow. I bet we get photos from AP or PA, whatever they're called, Press Association or Associated Press. They get their numbers in, of course. No words right now, just agony. Nicola Bulley's family say they are incredibly heartbroken by the discovery of a body in the river near where the mother of two went missing 23 days ago. Wow, 23? Okay. Missing for 23 days. That's if this happens to be the same body. Published at 8:20, so it's not the newest story going, but it's fairly recent. That Nicola Bulley was fearing the worst last night after a body was found less than a mile from where she went missing. Paul Ansell, 44, and their two daughters, aged 6 and 9, have held out hope that the 45-year-old was still alive, but two walkers spotted the body of a blonde woman tangled in reeds in Lancashire River right before noon yesterday. The body was said to be in a lot of pain. What? The family was said to be in a lot of pain and incredibly heartbroken. Yes, of course, you would be. Police sealed off the scene just down the river from where Miss Bulley's phone was found after she took the family dog for a walk. The worrying discovery so close to the village of Wyre after weeks of extensive... Why it took police so long? Well, surely, if it was just tangled up in some reeds along the river, then wouldn't it have been, quite recently put there? Yeah, and they've got every second of her, last however long of her last days or weeks totally marked out. 8:26, Nicola Bulley leaves home with her two daughters. I mean, as if they would have all this information on her. She is seen walking her spaniel, Willow. It's almost like a script for a TV show or for the dramatisation. She sends an email to her boss. She logs on to a Microsoft Teams call for work. Yeah, and they've got everything down to last known sighting in a field near a river by a witness who knew her. Wow, we got someone stood in the middle of trees pointing. That's all the proof we need. Officers and divers scoured the area where it was found within the first 48 hours, but have not been looked at since private search expert Peter Folding investigated it on February the 6th, 26. Efforts have instead focused further downstream. Yeah, we were going to have a look actually if this person has a GoFundMe case going. Again, look, these people just filmed standing about. That means now constant press conferences. Yeah, right. Do we want to watch the video in whole?
Incredibly low towards an area of the river. That was probably around a mile downstream from where Nicola...
Oh, we don't want to watch this. She's been found. Well, no, she's not been found. She's who knows? We'll see. We'll see. It looks pretty open and shut though. Get ready for the ITV drama to be filmed starring, I don't know, the woman that used to be Raquel in Coronation Street. I know she did one. She featured in a dramatisation of a supposedly real crime. Have they done a dramatisation of the Manchester Arena yet? I'm not actually sure. Right. Okay, Nicola Bulley, GoFundMe. Yeah, oh, Nicola Bulley's GoFundMe taken down. Right, okay. A GoFundMe for Nicola Bulley has been taken down, and the friend who set it up, Emma White, has apologised for getting it wrong. The 45-year-old vanished while walking her spaniel. Her last known location, yeah, this isn't what we're actually reading this story for. One of Nicola's friends also set up a GoFundMe following her disappearance, but it's been deleted as the family was unaware. So they've got all these people that know her setting up GoFundMe. Originally asking for 100 grand, dropped to 50, then to 5, has now been disabled. Bring Nikki home. So does that mean there was already another one I've since removed? Who knows? Well, one was set up and then swiftly taken down. Which, oh, but there's a Facebook campaign. I see. Well, that's interesting then, that they took down a GoFundMe for such a high profile case. Perhaps because the money they want isn't from the public, they actually just want it from taxpayers in order to fashion the local river with with loads of railings. In Bath, I don't know what Bath 5 in 5 years. Let's see what comes up. That was it was a campaign where they wanted people to be more careful. Bath River, because supposedly 5 students, I say supposedly, I don't know, one man's fight to get, nope, petition calling for river safety after student death. A petition calling for the installation of safety barriers along the river where a student died has gained more than 4,000 signatures. Henry Burke, 19, from Ripton in Yorkshire, was last seen leaving 00 nightclub. How old is this story? I know it, and campaigners are calling for greater safety after several people have died in recent years. Christopher Taylor, 21, in 2014. Samuel Amin, 18, and James Buber, 19, were both drowned in the river. Sophie Clark, who started the petition, many lives have been lost because of the river, it's not safe, fences erected. Here is where they want their money from. An earlier petition calling for an improved safety measures in the area gained 4,264 signatures. Bath and North East Somerset Council said that since 2011 it has spent about $500,000 on safety. Yeah, that drastically increased as they fenced off a whole stretch of the river, which isn't a bad idea. I mean, I doubt people would complain about taxpayers' money being spent on making an area like a river safer, but it's almost as if they have to have a reason, or they have to include a big news event of why we would ever want to put fences up to keep you people from falling in the river. I don't know. Greetings to JT33, hope you're doing well. And Skeptic936, thanks for tuning in tonight. By the way, Skeptic, you do appear in a new... Oh, it's been going across the bottom for ages. I didn't realise that scrolling text had been rolling all this time. But yeah, it's thanking my two supporters, one of which is Skeptic936, so thanks for your help. And in the pre-show, I showed off some new plugs I was able to get. Right, I'll take that scrolling text down now. I think you've... Yeah, for the time being. Right, we are potentially going to go to a intermission, and then when we come back, we'll be looking at what our headline story is tonight. The bursting the satellite. Yeah, JT33, I haven't seen you in the chat for a long time, so yeah, it sure is good to see you. How's your music going? I know that we've often played in and out with watching some of your tracks, so yeah, always enjoy your music. Yeah, so on that note then, I might do a quick intermission then with the video. Right, now I started playing this video, which is from 2017, back in yeah, on a couple of live streams ago. I did it as my intermission, but I realised I hadn't included the full video, and it cut off after about halfway through. So this is the full video, and it is kind of in line with... Oh no, that's not it. Tweets from a Gaslit Mind. Nope, that's the one we played in on. Biggest lie not on Earth. Yeah, this is a video from 2017 that I made about satellites. Oh, you've got a project called Nuke the Moon. Is it up yet? Are we able to listen to it? Because yeah, I always enjoy listening to your tunes, so we could maybe watch it before we end, if you don't mind, of course, if you don't object. Susan says we have to wonder why they're housing these immigrants in hotels. Yes, I noticed what you mean about they're men of fighting age. Are they? Yeah, I know what you're saying, Susan, but I think they want people upset about it. They want it to cause division for whatever other reason they've got. They want people to be angry about it. As I said, Coronation Street did running a story about some extremists. It's crazy. Yeah, okay. When we come back, we will be looking at bursting the satellite. I know, actually, going back to JT33 in the chat, I know you've done some videos about. Am I right about NASA? I'll have to have a look at your channel before we go tonight, because I'm always a fan. Okay, right, before we do go to our intermission, I'm just going to thank Susan Byrne, JT33, Skeptic936, KG, Midnight Scribbler, and anyone else? And Nathan Oakley for taking the time to comment in the chat. I don't know if you're still tuned in. We're roughly at the halfway point. This is the teaser for a new track. Do you know what? Just before the intermission, we will play your teaser if you don't mind. I'll bring our screen up again. Let me see. Yeah, depending on how long it is. And I'll obviously leave a link, although you've obviously left a link. I will put... Well, I didn't mean to do that. Didn't know it would open in the same page. That's fine. That's not a problem. Right, okay, I'll bring the screen up in a sec. And we can watch the teaser. How long does it go on for? 55 seconds. Okay, and then when we come back, we'll be watching Satellites, the Biggest Lie Not on Earth, which goes on for about 8 minutes. And then when I come back, yeah, we'll do the second half of the stream. So thanks to everyone who's taken the time to comment in the chat so far. We'll watch a bit of Hidden in... What was it called? Hidden in Plain Sight promo. Right. Okay, so basically when I come back then... Oh yeah, I'll be back. Right, hang on. How easy... I'll just put it big screen actually. Alright, I'll mute my microphone for a minute and I'll be back before our intermission. Typical, I pressed the wrong thing. Now we've got to sit through an advert. No, I don't. We can get out of this. Although I have lost the live chat, that's the only thing. Never mind. We can make it work. Right. Where are we? Copy link. Right. Hang on, let me bring up my live chat all over again. Okay. Opening a new tab this time. What happened there? Right. Hidden in Plain Sight promo. I'll unmute it. We will get to the intermission sooner or later. Thanks for sharing the link, by the way. JT33.
COVID-19 can be characterized as a pandemic.
There is no American pet in Europe. We suspended all travel from Europe to the United States.
This is not a drill, it's a pandemic.
At war, you must stay at home.
A 14-day quarantine will be mandatory.
Spain and France have joined Italy in banning people from leaving their homes.
You absolutely must stay at home.
All gatherings
programs are canceled until further notice.
We're not on the same page, they're keeping us enslaved. We're leaving the world stage, you know it was well played. The politicians are the villains.
That looks good, JT33. I'm going to put a link to your channel actually in the live chat, and if you're watching this after the if you're watching this video after the live show, I will also put it in the link to the description. Right, okay, I'll be back in about 8 minutes. I hope you guys can hang around. I know it's getting late, especially here in the UK. Depending, your time zones may of course be different. But yeah, I will catch up with you all in, let me see how long our intermission plays for. 8 minutes 57. Okay, so be about 10 past 11 and I'll be back. In fact, let me put a little message on the screen so everyone knows we'll be back. Be back soon, ... Okay. Yeah, you're welcome, JT, always. Okay, I'm gonna see you in 8 minutes 50 odd seconds. Enjoy this video about satellites, which kind of moves, you know, ties in with what the next part of the stream is going to be about. Okay, see you in a minute. Hi, this is my video on why I question the whole concept of satellites, particularly communication systems, like I'm covering in this video. Of course, I could well be wrong. Very aware people have opposing opinions on this. You're more than welcome to leave your thoughts in the comments section. Thank you. Walk down most streets in Britain and you'll probably see a common sight on one side of the road or another, a satellite receiver. As far as we know, at least those who have ever given them much thought, this is receiving TV transmitters from a satellite floating above the Earth. Now what an incredible invention, beaming transmissions from one side of the world to the other. Of course, beaming is an interesting choice of words as it doesn't specify if these radio waves are transmitting or merely reflecting the signal coming their way. At this point you might be asking yourself, is this a flat Earth video? No. For the purposes of this presentation, when questioning the functionality of a satellite, we're going to assume we live on a spherical ball Earth, as the curve of the Earth is cited as actually being essential for them to even orbit. Now, your next question may be, why would they concoct a story about how TV broadcasts are delivered? As I'm specifically looking at the use of the Astra satellites that Sky Television use here in the UK. And who am I to even question it? Well, I'll answer the latter part of that question and tell you I'm not an electrical science engineer. I'm not a theoretical physicist. I'm not a telecommunications expert. But I am a person with enough common sense to at least query the vague, sometimes contradictory explanations we get for how all that machinery out there works. I also think I know when something doesn't sound right. As for the earlier part of that question, why would they fabricate satellites? That might be a tougher question to ask, but stick with me and see what you think. So let's ask, what do satellite dishes, or parabolic antennae as they're actually called, do? The simple way to answer that is to say they're receivers of radio waves and microwaves, which are actually a type of radio wave, such as the ones we've been broadcasting from one continent to another for the past 100 years or so. Although obviously the frequencies used and the amount of data that can now be transmitted has grown and matured. Just like the huge dishes you see that are not actually beaming out signals as I always assumed, are also receiving radio waves, and they are actually called telescopes, so they are monitoring the heavens in the form of radio waves. The idea that a TV transmitter, some of which are enormous and require their own separate power generators, which output TV, radio and telephone signals in the form of radio waves, could be scaled down to something the size of a truck and run off no obvious power supply is a bit of a head scratcher, especially considering the distances covered. Take the Mendip transmitter near Wells in the UK. Now, this is the tallest structure in the southwest of England and delivers to a large area of the southwest. Now, there are at least 30 more of these transmitters used to distribute digital TV across the UK. However, when satellites are used, they somehow manage to do exactly the same using just 2 or 3. And bear in mind, these orbiting satellites are not even anywhere near the UK. According to a Sky engineer I was talking to recently, the satellite that beams out the signal received by the dishes on people's homes is in a state of freefall above the equator. Now, I struggle to get my head around how it is possible to stay in perfect alignment with stationary dishes that are attached to people's houses. I know you have to be an engineer in science to work out the technicalities of how much force would be needed to maintain the same speed of fall for an infinite amount of time, but we even see these satellites getting launched from space shuttles, or at least that's what the CGI pictures illustrate is happening. And the whole idea of geostationary objects that stay in the same spot relative to the Earth is an example of gravity becoming very selective. Some sources will tell you it is the curve of the Earth that makes this possible, but that doesn't make sense unless gravity's pull is coming from below the Earth, certainly to one side or the other. You also have to ask how a geostationary satellite can be immune from the downward force of gravity. If we explore the origins of satellite communications, we'll see once again science owes a lot to science fiction. Just like the moons of Mars, it was a science fiction writer who first proposed the idea. Arthur C. Clarke in 1945 wrote an essay on the concept of communication satellites, and it took just 12 years for this idea to grow from mere fictitious fantasy to an actual fully working, fully orbiting piece of equipment in the form of Sputnik 1. Well, at least that's according to the news. Since then, the idea has really caught on, and there are now somewhere in the region of 8,000 orbiting satellites being tracked. But for now, for the sake of simplicity, we're just focusing on the ones used to broadcast Sky TV to homes in Britain. These are referred to as Astra 28.2 degrees east. This name comes from the direction these parabolic antennae are required to point in order to receive the signal. But again, this raises questions. Looking at a globe, you can draw a line going north from, say, Tralee in the south of Ireland, and working out the direction of 28 degrees east is a fairly simple process. Then, do the same in Aberdeen, East Scotland, both areas within the footprint of Astra 28.2 degrees east, and it will become clear that 28 degrees east is not the same direction from each location. The lines actually point to a completely different area of the sky. Looking for specifications on the Astra satellite Sky make use of is difficult. Wikipedia seemed to have the most information. I expected there to be pages and pages of specs to read through, but what is offered is minimal. That one of the sites offering information was called Lying Sat didn't go unnoticed either. One question I get asked often when I bring up my suspicions around satellites is, so how do you think your smartphone works? This is usually asked by a person who has no idea how a smartphone works. I can confidently say, having taken apart a few smartphones in my time, that none of them, least of all not one that's ever been commercially released, can connect to a satellite. I would invite anyone who believes otherwise to take apart any smartphone and identify the transmitter inside that can broadcast microwaves in all directions, the required 1,000 miles or so. If you have ever been in a poor 3G signal area, you'll know how quickly a phone battery drains when looking for a nearby mast. Now, you may have SatNav on your phone, but it is almost backward thinking to believe the only way your position on Earth could be worked out is by relying on floating computers in space. If you're interested to know how navigation services are offered on your phone, look up AGPS or Assisted GPS for some answers. You have to ask what benefit a satellite system of communication would be. We already have a perfectly good infrastructure for broadcasting radio waves on the ground. So if you have the option to use this reliable, effective method, why would you instead opt to invest in an expensive, complicated system that involves launching computers into outer space? Think of the difficulties maintaining, updating and connecting to a system that is always in a state of freefall in the vacuum of space and costs billions of pounds just to launch. One subject I'm yet to touch on is the ionosphere, a layer of electrically charged atmosphere starting around 200,000 feet up. This has been used to bounce telecommunication radio waves off for decades and is something I feel is far more likely being used. It's certainly possible overhead objects in the sky could transmit radio waves, at least in the case of internet delivery. Look at projects such as Google's Project Loon, for example. I would like to ask any experts in the field of broadcasting who happen to watch this, hypothetically, if there could be an alternative way these signals are being delivered.
I personally wonder if the masses of transmitters and receivers dotted all around us are used. I am convinced satellites are a lie, another way to convince us our governments have mastered space travel and justify the huge amounts of taxpayers' money being spent on nonsense such as the International Space Station. A final point to those that believe they have seen satellites passing across the night sky in the form of tiny dots of light. To my knowledge, satellites do not have external lights on them, and even if they do, what kind of bulb are they using that can project a beam of light such a distance, and where is the power coming from?
Okay, we are back, and that was my 2017 video, Satellites, the biggest lie not on Earth. Right, we are gonna, that brings us into the second half of the live stream. If you're still with us, I much appreciate it. We've probably got another half hour in us, I expect, and then we will be closing down for the night. I wanted to mention another great YouTuber out there is Level Earth Observer. If you're not familiar with this guy, I will put a link to his chat in the to his channel in the where are we? In the live chat. Yeah, he's made plenty of videos on, because I don't know if you've noticed lately that constantly, hang on, let me, and as I said, this will be in the description as well once we finish the stream. He made a video about the Himawari supposedly satellite, and how it is just like we constantly see in the news at the moment. They're showing us images of spy balloons, although they pass a striking similarity to what many people probably imagine satellites to look like. Bear with me one sec. Yeah, I recommend this guy's video. He points out how they are all launched. Supposedly a Japanese... The Himawari is a geostationary satellite operated by the Japan Meteorological Agency that supports weather forecasting, tropical cyclones tracking, and then Leo points out that Japan launch weather balloons like a ridiculously, I don't know, twice a day, every day they're launching weather balloons to try and track their weather. Now, if you think about the Himawari, well, the purpose of the Himawari is to keep an eye on the weather, just like we said in a previous stream. If you want to get your location on the ground, you use the ground. You don't go up in, you don't use computers in outer space to figure out where you are, like 1,000 miles away. It's like ridiculous idea. In the same way, if you want to monitor your weather, your local weather, you don't send something up 1,000 miles above the Earth to monitor the weather. You actually go to where you actually want, where all the weather is happening. So yeah, of course, 30 kilometers, I mean, that's a cracking height. What would that be? 20 odd miles, 30 kilometers. If they can actually get that high above the ground, who knows? I wouldn't. But yeah, it just made me curious how many stories are coming out at the minute about space and about aliens almost. Where was this latest one? Astronomers target the dark side of the moon in search for alien life. This is in the Telegraph, so not in even like a tabloid, like, I don't know what ones they are, but the red top newspapers that are all known for their far-fetched stories, like the Daily Sport or whatever they call it. That's always got, not that I read it, but the times when I have seen it, it's always got absolutely ridiculous headlines about aliens being found, or who knows what else. But apparently telescopes placed, so this is past tense, has already been done apparently, on the dark side of the moon, could pick up the first signs of intelligent alien life and peer back in time to view the universe before even light existed, scientists believe. Astronomers, I thought they were talking about scientists. Okay, whatever. Astronomers consider the moon a perfect spot to search for faint techno-signatures from advanced civilizations, or pick out the clouds of hydrogen which swirled soon after the Big Bang and which could eventually burst into stars. Yeah, okay. I'm sure you... I mean, how long ago did they claim the Big Bang happened? Whatever. Of course, you can look back... if you go into space, you can look back in time. It's literally a time machine. If you didn't know that, then... The idea of locating... Right, wonder how they'll end this bit. I'm not looking beyond this line, or beyond this word. The idea of locating observatories on the dark side is ridiculous. Do you think it'll finish? No. Has been discussed in astronomy for decades. But it has only recently resurfaced as a plausible idea as humans prepare to return to the lunar surface. NASA, the ESA, the National Astronomical Observatory of China, all already have plans for radio telescopes. So they're not actually using optics. It'll be picking up electromagnetic signals, I guess that's what they're looking for, on the far side of the moon, a dark and quiet spot which is shielded from Earth's radio transmission. This is something that has been around for a long time as an idea, said James Carpenter of the Robotic Exploration Program. For the first time, agencies are starting to take this very seriously. Do you mean they're starting to actually request money to do it? Because that is about as serious as they get. Oh, we've got the dosh, now what do we do? Oh, just give them some cartoons, give them some CGI, they'll be happy with that. Hang on, won't they be expecting some groundbreaking discovery? Yeah, tell them we've tracked the moment. Tell them we've actually managed to take a picture of the Big Bang. Really? They won't buy that, will they? You'd be surprised. They'll buy it. Just give it to us. Anyway, that's the internal dialogue between... That's the dialogue between the people taking this very serious, in case you wondered why I was talking to myself. Right. NASA first proposed placing telescopes on the moon in 1960s, but after the Apollo program was cancelled, projects on the lunar surface were mothballed. Hang on. Didn't they go into space into the 70s? They had plenty of opportunities to put these telescopes on there, but they waited until it was cancelled to say, yeah, we'll get back to you with those CGI pictures. We'll come up with it later. Now, with the success of the first Artemis launch, humans are expected to return to the moon this decade, opening up the lunar surface once more for exploration and potentially astronomy. And here we have a wonderful picture of... Is that... I don't know. Whichever one it's meant to be. It could be anyone in that mask. Could be anyone. Again, PA, get their name in. Buzz Aldrin on the moon. NASA/PA. Press Association or something it's called. I can't remember. I know there's Associated Press, but I think PA is someone different. Right. Because it takes the moon the same amount of time to rotate once on its axis as it does to orbit once around the Earth, the same side of the moon faces Earth at all times. Or could it be that the moon isn't moving, isn't rotating in the way you claim, thereby leaving the far side always facing away from Earth? Which would, of course, ask the question, why are there all these, what we're told are craters on the moon? They couldn't have been hit by anything coming from the other side because... Oh, who knows? Whatever. And then we've got some guy talking passionately about the moon, but I'm not going to play it because I guess that would be a copyright takedown. I won't inflict that on you. I will put a link to this article in both the live chat, in case you want to watch these videos for yourself. I'll put moon article, and it will also be in the description for anyone wanting to find it. Anyway, hydrogen clouds which formed shortly after the Big Bang but have not yet collapsed into stars could be spotted as shadows or ripples against the cosmic microwave background. Shadows, wow, okay. So any shadows are going to be hydrogen clouds, I guess. Unless you want to claim it's something else, you could just flip the script whenever it works for you. Professor Joseph Silk of the Institut Astrophysique de Paris and Oxford University said a 60-mile wide antenna array on the far side of the moon could pick up those super quiet relics from the beginning of time. Nonsensical. There has been an immense amount of interest in doing projects on the moon and for cosmology, and it may allow us to reach some of the ultimate limits that we dream about. I thought we were reaching these limits every time they bring out a new story, or every time they launch a new telescope or antenna or something. NASA already has 2 dark side projects in the pipeline, including a plan to construct a telescope in the lunar crater, as well as a 6-mile wide low frequency radio telescope array known as Farside. So let's just go back to the beginning of, I'll highlight that so we know where we were, the beginning of this article, when they claimed telescopes placed on the dark side of the moon could pick up the first signs of alien life. That would suggest that there are already telescopes placed on the dark side of the moon, past tense, that's how they're describing it. Well, no, they're not. This obviously is probably something out of Arthur C. Clarke's, a book by Arthur C. Clarke. But going back to, oh wow, look at those pictures of the moon. As they say, always the same side faces us. Oh, is that meant to be the dark side of the moon? Of course, we have seen the dark side of the moon before in a cartoon. And yeah, there's a striking distance on the mystery on the far side. Right, where were we? Solar panels from moon dust. Solar panels can be created from moon dust, engineers have shown, in a breakthrough which could be used to power bases on the lunar surface. Are they just saying we can use dust from the moon? Wow, brilliant. Blue Origin, the aerospace manufacturer owned by Amazon's Jeff Bezos, has shown it is possible to smelt lunar regolith, the dusty material that covers the moon, to make solar cells and transmission wire. The discovery means that the material to create solar panels and therefore power on the moon would not need to be launched from Earth, vastly cutting the cost of their installation. Isn't that convenient? Thank goodness Blue Origin and Jeff Bezos have sent something up to the moon. I'm sure it isn't as fabricated as the moon rocks that Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin gave out to special guests. I'm sure it's got nothing to do with that whatsoever. Right, oh yeah, and of course, extraterrestrial intelligence. Experts look for regular and continuous pulses of energy coming from the outside of the solar system. The idea of being able to search for signs of extraterrestrial intelligence from the moon has been a glint in the eye of SETI astronomers from the very beginning of the field in the 60s and 70s. That wasn't when they began studying the stars, by the way. The stars have been mapped out and studied for, well, as long as, a good couple of thousand years. It certainly isn't a recent thing that only started in the 60s or 70s, but perhaps that's the only time that they started talking about extraterrestrial intelligence. Who knows? Who knows how far back the idea of aliens goes? Does anyone know that? The radio spectrum is a very busy place, and there are all sorts of examples. So it's becoming extremely difficult to conduct sensitive SETI searches. I bet it is. Is that the end of the article? Yes, it is. And then on to something about the English Cricket Board allowing trans women to play against 12-year-old girls is shameful. Of course it is. Right, we are heading towards... I know there was... Also, we have had something about the FBI claiming to be absolutely clueless as to what is causing the, blaming China for these balloons. That are genuine people actually spotting these balloons, or is it only coming from mainstream media? I have no idea. Right, should we watch a few seconds? Actually, we'll carry on down in this article and see. Yeah, this is the FBI lab assessing what Chinese balloon was capable of. Well, it's a balloon, so it's capable of staying in the air for at least a little while. In my opinion, is this just conditioning people to start accepting that, satellites, yeah, well, we never told you they weren't attached to balloons, you just kind of assumed they were. We never told you these things were floating in outer space. Well, some people might have told you that, but we'll see. Is this kind of some sort of change in the script where they almost admit that yeah, satellites, they are a bit of a hoax? We'll see. I mean, not to say that they don't send things up on balloons, of course, but yeah, putting things into a state of free fall around the Earth, no, I don't think that's happening. Yeah, it's always China, isn't it? Chinese espionage, balloon military. Oh, Getty Images get a copyright claim for a change. Right, whatever. Yeah, because I don't know how many there have been recently, but I'm sure it's more than one now. The announcement capped 3 dramatic weeks that saw the US fighter jets shoot down 4 airborne objects. The large Chinese balloon on February the 4th and 3 much smaller ones, objects over a week later. They are the first known peacetime shootdowns of unauthorized objects in US airspace. Yeah, I bet they are. Of course, this justifies, we looked at them the other week, this justifies the Americans paying for a space force for people to protect them with... Oh, we have something called the Quick Reaction Alert Force. I wonder who they are. Which involves Typhoon planes which are kept 24/7. Let's have a look. I'm curious about who these people are. Right, Army cavalry units are frequently posted as quick reaction forces. Okay, so it's just a load of planes that will fly out at a second's notice in case anyone goes somewhere they shouldn't. Good to know. I thought that was something like the Space Force, which again is a fairy tale. Oh, apparently they've now got a comedy called The Space Force. Yeah, I'm sure that is actually something they announced, wasn't it? Just because Netflix are kind of making a program to cement that idea into people's heads doesn't mean that this isn't exactly what they claimed. Unless it's been shelved by the new military frontier. Yeah, crazy stuff. What a waste of people's money, hey. Earlier on in the chat I saw, who was it, talking about people not being able to feed themselves, and yet ridiculous amounts of money goes into this space force. Or, well, sorry, space exploration full stop. What a complete joke that is. Yeah, it's a bit out there. Were there any other stories I came across? We looked at Natalie, we looked at the violent protests. I think that's where we're going to start wrapping it up, actually. Let's see, have I got anything on my links that I haven't looked at? No, I think we covered it all. yeah, we did have a earlier look at Natalie Imbruglia, and she's one that's added to the collection of of baby pictures where they... Oh, that's not the one. Yeah, where they use the classic baby clutching fingers. That was covered at the beginning of this live stream. If you haven't seen it, you're welcome to go back. I always like looking at celebrity babies because they always look suspect and a bit dodgy. Right, at Midnight Scribbler, good show. I'm glad you appreciated it, and I appreciate you tuning in and taking the time to comment in the live chat. Tell you what, before we do wrap up for the evening, I would just like to let people know, I don't know if you ever catch my midweek streams. In the last one, I did say, I was going to make tonight an open lines episode where I invite people to tune in and call in and whatnot. I share a link, get involved. It means I do it on StreamYard, which limits some of what I can do. Now, I'm going to actually do that this week. I am going to do an open lines episode in my midweek. It was for a long time Bobby Zines. I was calling... it was the Bobby Z show. That was my midweek show. I am going to be starting a new one now called the Bob Z Hour. Let's see. And yeah, this is sort of something like the new branding, which we'll have for it. Yeah, rather than the Bobby Z show being 30 minutes, this is going to be an hour long, and I may do another Bobby Z show, we'll see. Perhaps I'll come back for another series. I've done 12 so far, plus a pilot. The Bob Z hour will be an hour long. They'll be in the midweek. I'm going to try and do more than one, which is the most I've ever managed of the Bobby Z show. I've never done more than one a week. I will try and do a couple Bob Z hours. We'll see how it goes. What I aim for is... I often feel the need to illustrate and name my live streams. Like tonight's is called... what did I call tonight's live stream? Burst in the Satellites. But yeah, what I plan to do that with the Bob Z hour, I'm not going to give it necessarily a name. We'll see. We'll see how it pans out. But yeah, that's what you can expect to see. I see KG is saying goodnight. I don't blame you, as it is 11:30 now my time. This is the sort of time we're going to wrap up. We do have a video to play out with, actually. We'll be done within 5 minutes, I reckon. What video are we playing out with tonight? I was just... Tweets from a Gaslit Mind. No, that's the one we played in with. Playing out with is Conor McGregor's Third Child. This was an old one I did about Conor McGregor. Of course, if you are watching this after the stream, after I've trimmed off the start and the end of the live stream, I will leave a link to these videos if you're watching on YouTube, I'll put a little pop up in the top corner where you can click on it and you can watch Conor McGregor's Third Child. Right, okay, I'm gonna invite you to tune in. I will certainly be doing one on Thursday, probably start about 7:30. I don't know why I'm limiting it to an hour. Maybe it will overrun, we'll see. But the Bob Z hour will be coming this week, and we'll be doing away with the Bobby Z show. For now, at least. Unless I need to do a shorter live stream anytime, and then I'll do... We'll see. Right, okay. I would like to show my thanks and appreciation to... KG, Midnight Scribbler, Susan Byrne, JT33, Skeptic936, and... Nathan Oakley, for all taking the time to comment in the live chat tonight. If I've missed anyone, I do apologise, and if you want to leave a comment, say hello before we finish up, you've got a couple of minutes. I will be back, as I said, midweek. I'll try and do one before Wednesday. I'm certainly doing one Thursday, so I'll maybe try and squeeze one in. We'll see how it goes, but I will be back midweek, and I will try and schedule the videos, and I do also plan to get into some sort of routine with these. Okay, this is, I think, oh, and of course I would invite anyone before you leave, if you think this video is worth it, I ask you kindly to hit the like button on your way out, and if you're not already subscribed, then please do, and if you want to share it on social media, I would also thank you for that. We also have a Patreon page where you can find a link in the description. It's patreon.com/BZLive. And also I would like to thank Linda Mac for her support over there, and also to Skeptic936 for both showing their support, and everyone else for taking the time to tune in, hit the thumbs up, and comment in the chat, comment on this video, whatever you end up doing. Thanks ever so much for taking some time out of your life to listen in. Always appreciated. Okay, enjoy this video, which is, I think this, oh my goodness, right, which is about Conor McGregor's third child. I made it in December 2020. Have a great week. I'll be back very soon. Good night, one and all.